looking for you because I was there. Go from a fraction to a decimal. What are the steps? That's right. Say it, write it, simplify it, right? Well, that's not true. That's for this. That's for this. This is say it, write it, simplify it. But this is top in, bottom out. But I'm glad you did remember that. And so top in, bottom out, add a decimal. So how many times does 8 go into 9? Once. And then what? 1, which would be 2. I have to keep going. Add another 0. And then what? 2, which is 16. Add another 0. 4. Add another 0, which would be 5. So 1.125. How many people got that? Good. So was it long? Was it hard or just kind of long? Just kind of long. It wasn't bad. Okay. Now the next one. This is where we say it, write it, simplify it. So let's say it. 36 hundredths. Okay. And then what can I divide both of those by? 2. What else? 4. I could do 4, right? Because 36 divided by 4 is what? 9. Thank you. 100 divided by 4 is 25. Can I go any further? No. Now, I heard a lot of people say 2, and that's true. If I go to 2, what's that? 18 over 50. But then what? You can divide it again. Another 2, which is still 9 over 25. You get the same answer? Yeah, it's just that this way got you a little quicker. But if you didn't see 4, then that's no big deal. You just had to do it twice, okay? Okay, from Friday's homework. Remember we did the lottery, and then I said the rest of this page is homework. Questions from this. What can I go over? You guys will have a minor ticket tomorrow, supposedly tomorrow. Over this, and what we're learning today. So nothing for homework. I'm not coming around to look because we don't have time today. The back of that paper. Can I borrow this? It looked like this on the front. Back of this paper. Nothing? Okay. Well then we're going to go ahead and move on, okay? Did everyone remember to grab the notes from the back? Make sure you got a copy of this. Okay. Friday, we talked about comparing and ordering integers, right? So this is just a quick little review from Friday. First, numbers decrease as we go to the left, increase as we go to the right. When you compare, you're going to use the less than and greater than symbol. And we talked about lots of ways to remember that, like it looks like an L, alligator eats the big side, whatever, okay? Today, the difference between Friday and today, if you look at our objective, says we can compare and order rational numbers. So what does that tell you the type of numbers we're doing today? Fractions and decimals. That's exactly right. Okay, fractions and decimals. So when you're comparing rational numbers, you want to convert them all to the same form. That's important, guys. If I'm writing it, you should be writing it the same form. Meaning, if you look at our example here, 1.43, 2 1/4, and so on, you have fractions and decimals. We want them to all be the same form. So, do you think it would be easier to convert them all to fractions or easier to convert them all to decimals? What's easier to look at? Decimals. So we want to convert them all to decimals, okay? Same form, and usually that will be decimals. Now, if they were all fractions and you just had one to convert to fractions, it might be easier to just convert them all to fractions. But for the most part, it's a lot easier to see decimals, and I'll show you why. Okay, so 1.43 is already a decimal, so I can leave it alone. But now let's take 2 1/4. 2 1/4. Do you already know what that one's going to be? Well, hopefully you all know it's 2 point something, right? Now we just have to talk about 1/4. something called a benchmark fraction, meaning it's so common that you just need to know it. You're not going to want to divide it out all the time. And I bet you already know it if you stop and think about it. You had 4 quarters, right? And you gave me one of them. How much did you just give me? 1/4. But tell me in money terms, what did you just give me? 25 cents. How do you write 25 cents as a decimal? 0.25. 1/4 is the same as 0.25. If you're not sure, always go back to this. Top in, bottom out. And there's your proof, okay? But 1/4 is a benchmark fraction. You should know that one. 1/4 is 0.25. What's 1/2? 50, so 0.5. What's 3/4? Think of it like money. If you gave me 3/4, 75. You see what I'm saying? So if you try to stick to money, sometimes that really helps, okay? All right, the next one is -3/2. Well, first let's write that as a mixed number, right? So 3/2 would be -1 and how much?
1.
That's right, 1 and 1/2. So as a decimal, what would that be? -1.5. Very good. Okay, and now the other ones are already there. All right? Step 2, they're telling you to place them on a number line, okay? And I'm also going to say, or make a list. Line up the decimals. Because for the same reason we talked about last week, you're not always going to want to make a number line. Are you with me? Are you with me? You're not always going to want to make a number line because it takes too long, or what if the numbers really spread out, or whatever. Okay? So we're going to do it both ways. Okay? First, let's place them on the number line. Okay? 1.43. Here's our number line. Where would it go? Between 1 and 2, a little bit less than half, right? Okay? So 1.43. 2 1/4, which we're now going to put 2.25, would go between 2 and 3, right here. That's a fourth, right? 2.25. Okay? -1.5 would go on the left between -1 and -2, right here would be -1.5 or -1.5. 0.80. Where would 0.80 go? Between 0 and 1. So a little bit over here to the right, just before the 1, 0.80 or 0.8. And -0.15. -0.15. Where would that go?
Near the
Well, tell me what 2 whole numbers that would come between. That's right, 0 and 1. Okay? So it's going to be just a little bit left of the 0. -0.15. Okay? Now, they asked you to do at least to greatest. So if I take the number line, I just start on the left and move to the right. So what's on the left? -1.5, then what? -0.15, then what? 0.8, then what? 1.43, then what? 2.25, okay? And then there's one more thing that they put on here. Give me just a second, I need this. I'm out of space and this is too dark. Okay? Notice that they said that they want it in the original form. Why is this hanging? Okay, so what that means is it was not, that's right, it was not -1.5, it was -3/2. -0.15 was that way. 0.80. 1.43 was already like that. And then 2.25 was 2 1/4. So the original form means how they look. Why do you think we want you to put them back in their original form? Any guesses? this was a multiple choice test, which you take a lot, are your answers going to look like the top ones or like the bottom ones? They're going to look like the bottom ones. They're going to put the original forms. Okay? Okay. I told you the other way is to make a list and line up the decimals. What I mean is, over here on the right side of your paper, you hopefully still have some space over here on the right. Okay? So just line up the numbers. 1.43, 2.25. Notice I'm lining up my decimals as I write. Negative 1.5, 0.80, negative 0.15. Guys, all I've done is I took them in this original list and I wrote them down after we converted them, but I lined up my decimals. Does your paper look like my paper? Okay? So now, if I'm putting them from least to greatest, which ones do I want to look at first? The ones that are, then how do I know which ones are going to be the least?
The negative.
That's right, the negatives first, okay? So now, is it negative 1.5 or negative 0?
Negative 1.
Well, remember, on a number line, the smaller the number is, the bigger it looks if we're talking about negatives, right? So this one would actually be the smallest, right? And then what? And then this one. So I'm just putting them in order. This would be first, second. Now, I'm comparing, starting again in my ones place, or the biggest place. What would be the next smallest? 1, 2, or 0?
0.
0. Then what?
1.
The 1. Then what?
The 2.
Guys, does that look familiar to you?
Yes.
Have you ordered numbers before? Of course you have. The only thing new is what? Negatives. That's exactly right. Guys, in 5th and 4th grade, you ordered numbers with decimals. I know you did. And so now we're just adding some negatives. Okay? Then you would rewrite them first, second, third, just like we did down here. We would bring that down here, just like we already did. Does anybody have a question? How many of you prefer the number line method? Just curious. Okay, and how many of you prefer the stack method? Okay, does it matter? Are we both going to get the same answer?
Yeah.
We hope so, right? Okay, let's go to the next page. Okay, so we're going to do some of these together, and then you're going to do some with a partner, all right? Number 1 says to plot 2/3 on a number line. Well, before I can plot it, what do I have to do with it? That's right. And how do I do that? 2/3. How do I do that again? Divide. Top in, bottom out. Oh, what happens? What's going to happen here? That's right. It's a repeating number. Guys, that means it's 0.666, and it goes on forever, correct? Is 0.66 going on forever equal to 0.66? Are those equal? No. That's a symbol. That means does not equal. What it equals is with a bar over it like this. Okay, and I say that to you because if I was asking you to compare, in fact, write this on the side somewhere. That's coming soon to a classroom near you. I'm pretty sure I saw this. 0.66, compare it to 2/3. Let's compare those two things with our less than or greater than. Which one of these is bigger? How do you know? So you're telling me 0.66 is going on forever?
No.
That's right. It doesn't have what? Who's talking? Yeah, it doesn't have a bar. It doesn't have any dots. This is technically 0.660, right? Because I can put as many zeros as I want. What is this one? Yeah, that one is the one that's going to keep on going. So which one of these numbers is bigger? 2/3. You see, that's tricky. Be careful, okay? Those are not the same. They're very, very similar, but not the same. So on the number line, this be, if that's 0.5, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, so then 2/3 would go right in here somewhere. Okay? How about plot negative 0.4 on the number line? But then look at the number line. The number line is in what? Fractions. So I need to convert something. Would you rather convert this to a fraction, or would you rather convert these fractions to decimals? Fractions to decimals, I love it. So this would be negative, what's 1/2?
Negative
0.5. We said that a second ago. And then positive 1/2 would be just 0.5. So where does negative 0.4 go? Between the
0 and negative 5.
0 and negative 0.5, so they would go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Questions? How are we doing? Okay. All right. Number 3, we have to order these from least to greatest. And already I see, yeah, I got 3 decimals, 2 fractions. So what do we want to do? Let's go to decimals. That's right. So negative 3/4, I bet you already know that one in your head. Say it loud and proud. 75. Very good. If you forgot it, you can always work it on the side. But remember what we said right before Ms. Priscilla got here? We talked about benchmark fractions. So 1/4 was 25. 1/2 was 50. 3/4 is 75, just like money. Okay? And now, we have to do that one. 9/16. Does anybody know your 16ths off the top of your head? I don't. So I have to come over here. But I do know that it's going to be 1 point something. Top in, bottom out. Okay? So 16 goes into 90. I don't know. I have to go over here to the side. And I have to change this background because it's too dark for this color. I don't like it. There. Sorry. I can still make it a color, but I need something I can see. Okay. Raise your hand if you have all your 16s memorized. Oh, no? Me neither. So what do you have to do? You do a little guess and check, right? Meaning, I call that chicken scratch. Meaning, I go over to the side and I do this really small work over here, and I take guesses. How many times I think 16 is going to go into 90? You want to check 5? I think 5 is a good guess. You know why? Because I know 5 times 6 is going to end in a 0, so I'm hoping that's going to get it to me. Let's see. Okay, it didn't get me there, but it got me really close. Am I going to be able to go again? Okay. Oh, how come? How do you know? Because there's only 10 away. So it was 5, which is 80. Now what? Okay, so now I'm trying to get to 100. So now I got to try 6. I get 96. Yep, so that would work. Which is 4. Bring down another 0. I know that's 16. What would that be? How close can I get to 40?
3 times 6.
Okay. I get 48. So it's going to be 2, which I knew because I know that 2 times 16 is 32. That's the only 16 I know. Uh-oh. Yay, look what happened. Have we already seen 80?
Yes.
Yes. And we say thank you because we've already seen it, right? Okay, so 1 and 9/16 is equivalent to 1.5625. It's all of those. Okay? Is everybody good? Okay. Now, you could draw yourself a number line. So if you want to do the number line way, go ahead. Or you could just stack them. I'm going to stack them because I've got this space up here on the left. So meaning 0.5, I'm just going to line up my decimals. So I've just lined up my decimals. I don't know the answer yet. Guys, if I go too fast, you just have to tell me. I'll slow down. Y'all are the first class, so I'm not sure sometimes if I go too fast. Tell me.
I know it's a rainy day, but y'all need to wake up too. Some of y'all aren't writing until I go by your desk and then y'all start writing and y'all are behind. You're rushing.
So, am I looking, if I'm going least to greatest, do I want to look at positives first or negatives first? Negatives. And so I want the one that is more negative. Which one is more negative?
2 and 8.
Negative 2.8. That's going to be first. Then what?
Negative.
That's right. And guys, notice that I'm putting a circle around my numbers right here. Why am I doing that? That's right. So I don't confuse this one with the digits that I'm comparing. This is telling me like it's first, second. Okay? So now I finished with my negatives. So now, what would be next? 0.5. Then what? 1.5625. Wait, it was the longest one. Is that not the biggest one?
No.
Just because it was long, it doesn't matter because we're looking in the ones place, okay? And then what?
And then 3 and 25.
Good. Okay, so now we need to write them in order and make sure we put them back in their original form. So first was negative 2.8, and I'm looking at the list, it was negative 2.8, so I don't have to do anything to it. Negative 2.8. And second was negative 0.75. It was negative 3/4. Okay? And then what? What was third? 0.5, which was already 0.5. What was fourth?
4.1.
That's right, I have to put it back. 1 9/16. And then 3.25. Okay, now that we've done all of that, I want to tell you something. We didn't actually have to do all of that work. Does anybody know of a shorter way that we could have done this problem? Does anybody happen to know it? A shorter way? It's what Miss Valid, you'll hear me say it lots of times. I call it working smarter, not harder, okay? What do I mean by that? Well, whenever I'm stacking the numbers, like 0.5 was already here. I knew this one because it's a benchmark, right? When I get to this one, we know the answer, but let's pretend that we did it. I knew it was that, right? Okay, and then negative 2.8, and then 3.25. Can I compare these? Let's see. The most negative one was this one, and then this one, and then what? 0.5, and then what? 1 point something, and then what? You see what I'm saying? Did we really even need to do that? Don't you hate it when you do that, when you're like, I did all that work for nothing? So guys, that's just another thing you might want to try in the beginning, is just seeing if you even needed it. And then when would we have needed it? How do you know when you would have needed it? If there had been another one, that's right. If, which this is not here, so don't write it. But like if, let's just say that was another one of our numbers, then would I have needed to figure this out? Yes, because I have another one number. See what I'm saying? But if you didn't have it, you didn't really need to do it. Guys, does anybody have a question? Okay, I don't see any questions, so that tells me you got it. So down here, 4, 5, 6, and 7, I'd like for y'all to work those, okay? You can do it with a partner. Uh-oh, what do you see right here? What's that? That's absolute value. See, it's not going away just because we went to harder numbers, okay? If you're at home, pause the video. I want to talk about number 4 real quick, guys. When I made my list over here, which is what I did first, I'm sorry, what I really did first was I did negative 1 1/3 absolute value, which was 1 1/3, and then I knew that that was 1.3 repeating, and then I knew that the opposite of negative 4 would be positive 4. And then I knew negative 2/3 would be negative 0.6 repeating, because we already talked about that one, right? Okay, so then once I got those, I started making my list, right? Lined up my decimals. And then it wanted greatest to least. Well, the only one, the biggest one was 4, right? And then, so that was the biggest, and then that, and then 1, and then 0, and then there was only one negative, so that made that one kind of easy, right? That's what I'm saying, it looked a lot harder than it actually was. Okay, let's go down here. On number 5, so notice I already put that's 0.6, so 0.6 would be what? 60, that's right, see how they need to look the same? So now can I compare them easier? 0.60 would be less than 0.65, guys, because think of it like it's money. 60 is less than 65 cents, okay? Okay, look, this is like that one I was saying earlier, but it was 2/3. 0.33 repeating compared to 0.3. Which one is bigger? 3 repeating. Please put that away. 0.33 repeating. Okay, on the next one, automatically I was like, ew, I don't want to do that. Oh, I don't have to. How come? Did I really have to do any work here? Why not? Smarter, not harder. Why not? So what? They're both negative. How does that help you? Tell us. Right, but how do you know which one's bigger just from glancing? No, they are not equal. Guys, this is -6 point something. I mean, yes, they told me, 17. But what is this? Negative, what's the whole number? What? But what's the whole number? What?
There is no whole number.
Oh, if there is no whole number, what's the whole number?
0.
0. That's what I was looking for. It's 0 point something. You see what I'm trying to say? Smarter, not harder. So now, which one, what's the symbol going to be? -6.17 is less than -0, right? Because remember, the bigger the number looks, the smaller it is when we're talking about the negatives. Miss Saul, they had a really hard time understanding that one less.
Let's have them read it. Say it in words, guys. Read it to me. Say it out loud.
-7.7.
No.
Negative.
-6 and
And
17.
Okay, and then this one.
-617. -617.
There was no
There's no and. If there was a whole number in front of it, I would read it 5 and, -5 and 617.
but there
There's
wasn't.
no and in it.
So obviously, anything with a whole number is going to be very different than anything without it, okay? Okay, so now I have a practice activity.